Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be going over what I think Miguel's role in Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2 is going to be. But before we do that, make sure to subscribe. I don't like saying it at the beginning of the video, but we are getting so much closer to 2,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I think Miguel is going to have a very big season, or part, where he has a very big arc. Maybe even the biggest arc in the part out of all the characters. But I think Miguel is going to start off pretty down in the dumps. I mean, we know he's probably going to be still a little upset about not being the captain. I know in part 1 he said no hard feelings when he was talking to Robbie. And while I believe he's not going to hold anything against Robbie, I mean, all Robbie did was win a fight fair and square, I do think that Miguel is still going to be very upset that he isn't the captain, because it's going to make him feel like everybody else is looking at him as second to Robbie, or, you know, not as good as Robbie and not important. And that's kind of a struggle we saw Miguel going through at the end of part 1. And I definitely think that's going to continue into part 2. I also think that he's going to be really upset that Tori turned her back on all of them and everybody in Miyagi-Do. Even though they're not dating anymore, they still are, you know, pretty close friends or, you know, friends. And he does care about her, so I think that he's going to have to try and, you know, come to terms with that while going through this other struggle as well. So I think a big part of this season is going to be him wanting to, quote-unquote, redeem himself. I don't think he really has to. I don't think he has to prove anything. But he's going to really want to prove that he still is the best. And we know he's really going to want to win this tournament because he wants colleges to see him. And what better way to get their attentions than winning, you know, a world tournament? If they see him win the Saikai Taikai, they're definitely going to want him in their school. So I think the first half of this part is going to be him kind of overpowered by his anger and, you know, disappointment and the thought that he needs to be better. And I think that may lead to him almost losing pretty early on in the tournament until, you know, maybe something happens. Somebody, you know, pulls him aside and gives him a speech or gives him a talking to. Maybe it could be either Johnny, Sam Hawk, or maybe even Robbie. And, you know, that talk will bring him back to his senses where he's now able to focus and power through and, you know, really focus on the tournament and what matters. And I think after he goes through that, you know, humbling moment or moment of realization that, you know, he's taking everything a little bit too seriously, I think that he is going to be a force to reckon with. I think that he's going to absolutely kill it at the tournament and just overall, you know, his life. And because of him doing so much better emotionally, I think he's going to get a huge win at the end of this season, whether it be winning the tournament, or it could just be, you know, a big win in his personal life. Maybe he gets accepted into Stanford, or maybe he just, you know, realizes that karate isn't the end of the world. This tournament doesn't define who he is, and if he loses, that's fine. He'll move on, and he'll still, you know, do his best and try his hardest to get into his school. You know, this isn't the end of the world. But I think that part 2 is going to be extremely important to Miguel's overall character arc. I think that it's going to wrap up a lot of the issues that he's been dealing with in, you know, past seasons and in part 1. I think that it's going to wrap up a ton of it and set him up for a very awesome ending in part 3, and I cannot wait to see that. But that's about it, so make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment what you guys think. What do you think Miguel's storyline is going to be like in part 2? Let me know in the comments, and remember, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. See ya.